Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? We're back at it again. Um, as you can see, as you can see from the title, what are we doing today? We're drawing. We're drawing. I almost forgot. Today has been a hectic day because I've been everywhere and nowhere all at once. I am a step below Michelle Yeoh, unfortunately. But today we're going to draw because I got a new commission to work on. I managed to finish the other commission that I was working on. Was it last week? I've been doing nothing but art streams lately, just to make sure that I actually make time to do stuff because I want to be responsible. But give me just a moment to open up the program, and then here we go. So today, as I said, we're talking about hot topics and stuff. Part of it is dealing with what I went through earlier today because, like, okay, this isn't a political commentary stream, and I'm not a political commentary streamer, right? Let's keep that in mind. But because I do like a lot of media analysis and whatnot, and because media doesn't exist in a vacuum, I sometimes do talk about stuff like that. And then, in addition to that, I'm black and I'm bi and I'm disabled, and sometimes I talk about my personal experiences, which are inherently politicized because of how it gets restricted by the state. So sometimes I will talk about stuff like that. It won't be all the time, but it will happen. So for anybody who's new and doesn't want to be bothered with that, please go ahead and leave now, so we're not wasting each other's time. But let's see. I need to get Oshu's character sheet because that's who I'm drawing for this. She has a mukbang stream that's coming up soon. She has a mukbang stream that's coming up very soon, and she wanted me to illustrate for that. So let me make sure that I save everything in a folder so all of my references aren't like disorganized. But what was I going to talk about? So earlier today I tried to go vote, and I'm mad as fuck because my mom called the I can't remember what she called. I think she called City Hall to see if I could go vote at the county. God damn it. She wanted to know if I could work at the county, right? Not work at the county, but go vote at like the circuit court and stuff because my temporary address, because I'm at school, is different from my permanent address, right? And both of us were told that I could go there to go vote. Why is it that the place is only available for early voting? Because I'm still in the AI image. Because like we still from Tech Bros. Because they have no respect. But let me put these in a folder. But no, they're only available for early voting because they have technology. Like, in order to do early voting, apparently they have it machine based, but on election day, which is today, right? It's like election day for the primaries, right? Um, they only do paper ballots, and apparently they have to have a certain amount of money in order to qualify as an election day space, which I think is fucking stupid. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you could qualify to be an early voting space, then you should qualify to be a voting space in general, a polling area in general, especially with the way that it's centralized. The polling area that I went to is near like a major metropolitan area in the city. So there's no reason why it's not equipped with that equipment. Like stuff like that bothers me. I'm getting my layers ready. Stuff like that just really bothers me. But hmm, should probably use. Also, hey Yoshu, how's it going? I'm getting the sketch together. I'm still gathering references for food, but I'm finally in a position to start the body because I know what kind of composition that I want. So we start because a lot of stuff was just mainly like resource gathering and stuff, but it's getting there. But I was mainly talking about earlier today how I tried to go vote and then I couldn't because apparently the polling area that I thought was available to go to is not fucking available because they don't have the funding or the materials to do that, which I think is stupid. So yeah, I'm crying on the inside. I couldn't go vote today, and I was not gonna catch like a lift all the way back to my town just to do that. When no, um, I do not have patience when it comes to certain things. Actually, but in addition to that, after that, what was the other thing that pissed me off? Um, excuse me. Take excuse me. I had to. So I need to email my school because okay, apparently my school was trying to set up to be a polling area, but they can never get the funding for it because they were trying to make it just an exclusive service for students instead of becoming a general polling area, which I kind of think is stupid. Because, like, okay, I understand you want to make it exclusive to students and not have strange people come into the school or whatever. Because there has been a couple of shootouts at my school. Luckily, I wasn't there. Because, like, every time some fuck shit happened at my school, I would not be there for it to happen. One time, um, you know how I say how I fucking hate my neighbors? Actually, oh shoot. If you're still watching, could you do me a solid? Could you, like, send me some screenshots of your 3D model? Cause like, how do your ears work? Like, do they like how do they connect to the chin? Like, is it? This is why I suggest like commissioners watch my stream because sometimes I do work on the thing on stream and I'm like, yay, live feedback. Like, can I do it like this, or does it have to come all the way down? Like, how big is it? Now I think about it. Give me just a moment. So until I get to the ears, I'll just draw the rest of the body. So, what was I talking about again? My damn school is literally depriving students of like voting accessibility because they don't want to make the polling area accessible to the general public, which is kind of dumb. But it's kind of dumb. But I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, the other thing that I'm kind of tilted at when it comes to my school is how it's dealing with some accessibility issues right now. Because what happened the other day, so for the have I talked about this before? No, I haven't. So my school has a lot of sight impaired folks, like a lot of blind people who show up on campus and stuff. I don't know if we're a couple of minutes away from the school for the blind and deaf, but that's usually for like high schoolers. I think that's like for grade school children. I don't know where the adults are coming from, but there's like a lot of sight impaired folks because sometimes I'd be going to the dining court and I'd be hearing the click clacking of the kind of canes that they use to get around. And okay, so I know what I need to know about the ears. But yeah, I don't know where the adults are coming from, but all in all, there are adults who come to the campus who use campus services because a lot of them go to the dining court or they walk around the dining court, right? And there was this one girl when I went to go eat. She had to ask one of the dining court attendants like what was to eat because she couldn't fucking see it, and they didn't have any like braille labels for the food. They didn't have any braille labels for the food or a braille menu. So she had to ask the attendant what was available. And then when she got to the self-serve section, because there's like a cold bar, there's a couple of cold bars at the dining court, she had to ask me to tell her what was there because they didn't have anything available to give that indication. So I ended up contacting the I ended up contacting okay, give me just one moment. Um but yeah, so I ended up sending a complaint to the Disability Resource Center because I I assume they would be the ones to go to for that because please, come on. Something is wrong with the image. There's another image that I got, and it should work because I know I did not upload that many damn references. Or maybe I did. I'm trying to save this other reference. So it did not upload at all. Okay. I'm about to convert this image real quick because I need it. I need the image. But yeah, I ended up sending a complaint to the Disability Resource Office in order to get that taken care of because like blind folks, they need to be able to get around and stuff. And these are adults, so they value their independence and stuff. So something as simple as giving them braille, a braille menu or braille labels on top of the food so that they could be able to like navigate and whatnot on their own. That's very important. Convert to JPEG. JPEG converter. So yeah, that was like two very recent incidents dealing with my school and stuff, and how I gotta send like an email to my school, and I'm probably gonna send something to like the state's Department of Education because I feel like all college campuses should try to make polling areas. I think that all college campuses should have polling areas in order to make voting more accessible because like okay, a lot of students are out of state. Hey Oxy, I'm talking about school stuff. I think I'll make it this big. Like a lot of students are out of state or they're far away from home or they can't get home easily because I catch the bus, man. And yeah, not everybody could just did I get rid of that picture when I just uploaded it? Clip Studio Paint, what the fuck are you doing? Okay. I was about to be pissed. I'm like, I know that they're updating sometime this month. They're updating sometime this month with changing the way that ooh my nose. Hold on. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm gonna cry. I'm trying to speak. They are updating the software to change how 3D models are done and or to change how 3D models are like interacted with and whatnot. So there's that. Okay, so ears. I'm making sure to like draw out the general body first. So there's that. And honestly, I am excited for this update because it'll make like positioning props and whatnot a lot easier. Because holy shit, it's too difficult to set up a scene and stuff. Because y'all know that my that I've been using 3D models like pretty much religiously ever since that became a feature on Clip Studio Paint in order to make stuff a lot easier. Cause like, okay, I understand anatomy. It's just that I need a physical reference when it comes to posing sometimes. It's weird because like I can rotate. Hold on. I can rotate an image in my head, right? But when it comes to like exact poses, it's like it's a bit weird. I'm like a number two on the Apple scale. You know how folks were talking about what's it called, aphantasia, with the ability to like actually imagine things, like actually see images within your head. And usually people like use apples and stuff and how those apples are presented to represent that. I don't like my nose. Like I'm sneezing. I cry. But I'm sneezing. But yeah, I'm trying to think. But yeah, that was essentially what happened today. Aside from that, I hate riding the bus whenever it's hot outside because everybody and their mom stink. I'm so tired. Like, oh my god. I understand getting hot, but like some people are stinking a different kind of stink and it bothers me. Like we need better infrastructure with some things. And I don't want to be here and be like, oh, if you stink, you shouldn't be here. Because like some people stink because they simply don't have stuff. It's just goddamn it. I'm tired of the back of my throat hurting every time I get on the bus. But I need to go somewhere. Like I'm already irritated because I gotta do errands. But it's whatever. We just need better infrastructure. More people could get what they need, and that can mitigate a lot. Don't ask why I got Megan Thee Stallion in my reference thing. It's another art project that I'm working on. It's another art project that I'm working on because I know that Megan Thee Stallion showed up to Japan in order to present for the Crunchyroll Awards. And one of the outfits that she wore, well, this outfit, let me go to that real quick. She wore this outfit in order to represent Gojo. It's a really cool outfit. So I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to draw something about it to show appreciation. Because I love Megan and I love Gojo. What kind of bothers me though with like the hashtags concerning it, people were saying Gojo D Stallion. First of all, it should be Megan the strongest. I don't know, it just has a better ring to it. It just has a better ring to it. To me. I also like her outfit presenting for the Crunchyroll Awards because she wore a modified dress that was pretty much a direct reference to Bruno from part 5 of JoJo. I know that the VA who voices JoJo and Gojo is happy because, like, yay, two references. Let's see. Right on. Actually, I should. Actually, Just actually one hack of, especially if you're like adjusting limbs and stuff when you're using the transform tool, adjust the pivot like you would. I think that's what that little cross thingy is called anyway. I think the pivot point, adjust it to where it's at the part where the arm would bend, like at the point of rotation or at the point of bending, like this, so that it sort of moves naturally, like the actual limb that you're transforming and stuff, and it helps with placement. At least to me. But what was the other thing that I was going to talk about? So earlier today, there was a conversation, if I could call it that, because like, okay, some things that bother me about some people online is that they don't, I don't even think that they necessarily lack reading comprehension. It's more that they want to be affirmed. So if you don't affirm them, they'll personally take that as an attack and stuff. Because earlier I tweeted something about um not wanting to talk to certain groups of people about certain subjects unless they were in my existing circles. And I'm still somewhat adamant about that because I do not need to be talking to people who intentionally misread what I said, because shit like that pisses me off and I will become rude and belligerent. It's amazing that I didn't become rude and belligerent then, because this person is supposed to be a grown adult. But the conversation, the not conversation that was being had, right, was about adulthood and VTubing, and how essentially VTubing is more or less a hostile space for adults. Hold on. It's more or less a hostile space for adults because there's like these expectations of how do I describe it? I know, it's still the right arm. There's this, how do I describe it? VTubing deals with gaming and anime and whatnot, and you know how cartoons and anime and gaming are treated as like childish things and stuff. And when it comes to anime, it's kind of weird how that sentiment is, because like, yes, even though anime does have stuff for kids, a lot of the stuff that gets pandered outside of Japan largely is not for kids. Like, I can't even say that some shonen is for kids, because yeah, it has teenage characters, but the content and the way that some of these kids are treated very much gives adults living a teenage fantasy than something that is actually made and marketed for teenagers, you know. But that's how I feel about it. But pretty much the conversation was um about how adults aren't like allowed to have certain interests and whatnot. And this one particular person was saying that it was largely younger people doing that. And they were kind of joking when they were like, "Oh, why do younger people do that?" Apparently they were joking. Apparently. Um Although, judging from the other like comments and stuff that they had with other people in the conversation, um I think that it was actually, I think that the thing was like one of those situations where a person wanted their experience to be affirmed instead of like genuinely looking for solutions to things. Because there's this discourse is actually pretty old on the internet. Like, I don't know how long it's been going, but it's been going on for a long time, and it's not just exclusive to VTubing. It's been like a general conversation in fandom about where do kids and adults belong, and how adults like get shamed for liking what's quote unquote childish things and stuff. And that's sort of that's going to be the main topic of today, because there's like a lot of nuance with this and whatnot. And I want to preface that I am a little bit biased because of because I tend to have a lot more sympathy for kids than I do for adults when it comes to certain stuff. Excuse me. I tend to have a lot more sympathy for kids than I do with adults whenever it comes to fandom stuff, because um living in the US, and I don't even think that it's just exclusive to the US. I think like it's a general problem that children are treated as property instead of autonomous beings and stuff. And because of like that general dynamic of how children are treated compared to adults, I think that they are at a huge disadvantage. And then I've also had my own personal experiences in fandom where grown adults would like enter and make the place hostile for kids, even if that piece of media that garnered fandom was either for general audiences or for children, right? And this isn't to say that there isn't an issue with like older adults being attacked for their interests and stuff. We do live in a society where adulthood is treated like it's supposed to be miserable and stuff, because we can only live to work and work to live when we become adults and stuff. But I can also argue that even with that, kids still have it worse, because we can't even say that recreation is only for kids anymore, because kids have less access to things due to them lacking transportation in general and things being very expensive, and therefore they lack the funding to actually go out and do things, whether it's extracurricular activities or third places. For those who don't know about like city development and whatnot, um things like urban development and whatnot, third places are what's used to describe any location that isn't work or home related. And I'm assuming that school counts as like work for kids, because that's pretty much the only job that they can have until they can become 16. So it still somewhat applies, right? But yeah, kids don't have money. Kids don't have transportation, and everything is fucking far away because we live in car dependent infrastructure. You're literally seeing governments like defunding essential services like libraries and whatnot. And libraries are very recreational because they provide stuff. My library, for example, the main library, close to, because like there's a library company with several branches and stuff. But the main location, they would host miniature conventions, they would have video game tournaments and stuff, and actually let you check out video games and play in the game room and stuff. One of the branches, they actually let you check out toys. Every branch lets you check out fishing rods and give you a book that helps you identify the local fish and stuff in collaboration with the Game and Fish Commission. But like right now, you're seeing examples of like libraries being defunded and stuff because A lot of politicians want the general public to be ignorant of things and not be informed in order to have more control over people. But so there's that going on. So why is this so important? Why do we have to why should we care about whether or not kids have access to recreation and stuff? Something that can be easily learned from observing the internet if you care, or if it shows up enough in your feed, is that traumatized kids or neglected kids create miserable ass adults. Because every other week on this app, and this app can mean anything. Like, I'm usually on Twitter, but Twitter isn't the only one that suffers from this. You have grown ass adults um talking about their childhood and how, based off of their childhood, certain things should be done a certain way, whether that range from who or who shouldn't have kids and da 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 da. And this isn't to say that some people shouldn't have kids, but sometimes it ends up devolving into straight up eugenics rhetoric and stuff, because people like basing their policy or their opinion of policy on trauma instead of healing and doing research and shit. And then there's also a general animosity towards children and whatnot. Like, adults act like children are taking their lives away from them when it's literally other adults. But because children are easier targets due to the lack of power they have, it's easy to shit on a literal child for existing instead of actually attacking power structures, right? It's so easy. And because nobody wants to actually do any work in order to fight systems and try to make adulthood, less miserable, actually make adulthood fun, and also advocate for children, because their childhoods are being taken away from them, right? And like I said, miserable children make miserable ass adults. Um, that ends up leading to this kind of behavior and stuff. And the whole thing about because what sparked the conversation was about older VTubers and how there's an expectation that they shouldn't be here, because when you look at VTubing as a medium, there's a lot of younger people in there. I don't know the ages of corporate people, to be honest, because I actually assumed that it was mostly adults in their mid 20s and older, but I think I'm coming from a black perspective, because I think I'm coming from a black perspective. When it comes to black VTubers, I see a lot more I see a lot more VTubers who are in their mid to late 20s, sometimes mid 30s and whatnot. And I think that's due to socioeconomic things. Black people, we don't have that much access to generational wealth when it comes to certain stuff. And a lot of us are on the lower end of tax brackets and stuff, with COVID data and whatnot. We don't have as much access to things. So a lot of black content creators actually start later and stuff, um compared to say white and East Asian performers and stuff. Because even when you look at poverty in say East Asian countries, because of the amount of investment that has gone into say gaming and the arts with some stuff, there's a lot more equipment that's accessible in order for them to get started as content creators. And then in like Western countries, white people are at the top with a lot of stuff. So of course they have more access to funding in order to get started with their content creation journey. But so it's so at least in black VTuber spaces, I tend to not see that sort of age shaming thing that happens within the field because like a lot of us start late. Like I'm 23. And I think the reason why I'm like one of the earlier starting VTubers, earlier as in, I'm trying to see how to draw Oshu's eyes. I'm trying to like make it accurate to her shape, or I should make it a little bit rounder. I should make the top part rounder. But I should make the top part rounder. But yeah, what I was trying to say is that the reason why I'm like a quote unquote early starter as in I'm starting in my early adulthood as a content creator instead of doing it a little bit later as like a 30-year-old and whatnot, is because I'm a student. So I don't have as many, I still got financial responsibilities with whatever personal things that I need to take care of, like soap and deodorant and whatnot. But I don't have to like pay rent because my tuition is taken care of and stuff. And I bought my new computer when my taxes hit and when I also had my paycheck hit. Whereas with a lot of black VTubers, like we've talked in different chats and stuff about like personal family struggles and whatnot. They got familial obligations and whatnot. So that does like hinder, that does determine whether you're able to like spare time and resources to try to get started content creating. So yeah, that age shaming isn't very common in black VTubing spaces at least because of how a lot of us start late in general due to like socioeconomic issues. Um, Now, as for why the age shaming happens, earlier I already talked about how adulthood is partially miserable because it starts off with killing joy and stuff at a younger age in order to get people accustomed to doing nothing but living to work, right? And like I said, miserable kids create miserable ass adults. Another aspect of it is the fetishization of youth. Because since we paint adulthood as miserable and whatnot, what is that going to lead to? People wanting to, live the glory days and stuff because now that they are an adult and adulthood is hard and miserable, they're going to constantly look back and fantasize about a teenhood that they may or may not have had. And with that, that comes to, and this isn't to say that you can't be like a well adjusted adult and also cling to childish aesthetics, but like this sort of industry of nostalgia, the sort of industry of nostalgia, the sort of insistence that some adults have on being in kids' spaces while also not adhering to the rules of kids' spaces. Because, like, let's talk about fandom for a moment and how, let's talk about fandom for a moment and talk about how adults don't know how to fucking act, whether it's in adult or kid fandoms, but it's even worse in kid fandoms because of, what's at stake in those spaces. Because there's nothing wrong with adults liking what's quote unquote childish things and stuff. There's a lot of children's media that's really good and that's enjoyable for all ages, particularly when it comes to like family content because they made it with both the kids and the parents in mind and stuff. And like just because it's for children doesn't mean that it can't be mature in its writing and stuff. Like everybody and their mom is still talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender because of how well it covered like difficult subjects. Because of how well it covered difficult subjects and how it was still like fun and stuff. It wasn't like serious in a boring way. And it still had plenty of humor and whatnot in order to keep audiences engaged, and that's why it's so beloved. And also the really good representation for the most part. I should actually make the eyebrows a little bit further apart. That's a bit better. Huh, that is better. This is so much better. I'm so proud. Um, but yeah, the that's why Avatar is so good because it's a kids show but it's mature. Because like I think that we should make a distinction between like say mature media and vulgar media, especially when it comes to like talks of shows like say Has Been Hotel, for example. Because everybody was just like, well, not everybody, but like a lot of people talk about how Has Been is for mature audiences, even though only one of the episodes is marked 18 plus. When you look on streaming, the rest are for 16 plus. But even if it was all like 18 plus and stuff, Has Been is an adult show, but that doesn't necessarily make it mature because I dislike how it deals with certain subjects. Like it suffers from a lot of tonal inconsistency. It suffers from a lot of tonal inconsistency. And because of that tonal inconsistency, some of the parts of the story that are supposed to be taken seriously ends up falling flat because it seems like the staff really do not have respect for some of the subjects that they're trying to commentate on, and that it really lacks any tact or sensitivity towards people of certain experiences, which is honestly pretty ass. But it's also why I don't respect that show, but that's a whole other conversation. But like I said, there's a difference between like say mature media and vulgar media and stuff, and Has Been is a really big example of that. It's very vulgar because of its use of like profanity and sexualization and violence, but it's not mature due to it not knowing how to not being able to actually its refusal to actually take certain subjects seriously and with a sense of sensitivity. But what I was talking about, how media can be for children, aka childish, but still be mature. And that's why some adults, despite being adults, can still like these things. because it goes to show that the quality is so good that anybody at any age can like it. Or you could have been a kid when you watched it and you still have a it still holds a place in your heart, so you're just revisiting it. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because shit, I still watch a lot of like Disney movies and Studio Ghibli movies. Heck, I went to see the newest one, The Boy and the Heron. I don't understand what the fuck was going on because like I need to rewatch that movie actually because a lot of people were complaining about how they didn't understand what the hell was going on, and I feel like this was like one of Miyazaki's more experimental pieces. Yeah, Ojiro Shiria. How's it going, Artemis? And I'm also still in the AI bros thing because I'm like, huh, what can I use? And now I know. But yeah, I'm talking about Boy and the Heron. It's a pretty good film. It was just, it is a bit confusing. I have to rewatch it because, like, um, I feel like it's definitely more experimental than Iraqi's other stuff, and I know that the motifs that Miyazaki was trying to work with was like, that's unfortunate. Me and Zivia, we went to go see it, and we were like the only ones in the theater. I feel like the face feels too small. I should make the mouth bigger. We were the only ones in the theater. I knew that it took place like after the Meiji Restoration because like some of the clothes look familiar, and I'm like, is this the Meiji Restoration? No, this is Patrick. And it was definitely experimental. Like I know that there is like a motif of the passage of time. Yeah, some things was very. It wasn't quite as clear because usually, with his other films, there's usually a clear message of like anti-war, environmentalism, anti-capitalism, and stuff. This one, it still has some of those undertones and stuff with like at least the looming of war and like family secrets to an extent. Was it really heavy? Because it kind of felt like I know that the motif was there, but it felt like a lot of stuff is sort of lost in there. I gotta find a picture of the anime character licking their fingers so I know how to draw this. Cause I thought I did. This is what I hate about having number. Like, okay, I guess it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because at least I'm not like the number one apple, right? Like you know the apple scale. We love the apple scale. Everything was about the children and the act of creating them, raising them, and like the expectations elders have. Huh. I took it as like the kid finding a different means of connecting with his elders. Especially with the what was her name? Hanako? What's the name of the old lady who was asking him for cigarettes? And how she was a butch young woman. Okay. I know a better lip pose. Hold on. Like I thought it was sort of about um familial secrets and generational divides. Female characters unidimensional for the theme that he chose because they were basically all motherly and nurturing. I didn't see that with the old lady. I didn't see her as exactly mothering. Like she took on more of a mentoring role. Although, yes, you could. Although technically, not that mothers can't teach anything, but there was like a yeah, it was guiding the new human spirits to the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean nurturing and stuff. You're given directions. And to be honest, when it came to like the male characters, the father was largely uninvolved. Which honestly, he could have been more. It would have been nice. Okay, how to draw a mouth. I'm close. I'm close, right? I'm close. It's just that I gotta do the mouth before the mouth. If I gotta do the mouth before the mouth. Okay. So the problem is that the pupils are right here. This is how wide the mouth needs to be. Because I don't like it whenever some faces are like hella small, you know? Because I don't know, it just fucks up my perception to me, and it's like she's looking up, or like the camera is above her head, even though I'm not even trying to do that. So I gotta make the mouth wide, and then if I know where the mouth is from there, then I can prosper. How her lips built again, so it's more. The Cupid's bow isn't quite as. Yeah, I don't like how small anime mouths can be sometimes. Like, please give them lips. And even though I'm gonna color the lips, because whenever I draw lips, right, I do the top and bottom lips with the sketch and stuff, so I know how to color it later on. Because I tend to not like the way, like I don't know, because of how thick my line work is, and even when I like thin out the line work, it still ends up looking like a mustache. Okay. It always ends up looking like a mustache. So I just sketch out the shape of the lip before I color it, so that I know when I color it, and I just deal with it. That's how I've lived. That's how I survived. That's how I lived. That's how I survived. Um, Oh, so that's why he posted we all have big balls. Yami made a new post. Yami with mine made a new post about how he got his new model. Because the artist who's been working on it has been posting teasers and stuff. I really like what's the artist name? Nari with two A's underscore JPEG. I've been seeing those teasers and stuff, and I really am impressed with the full range of movement. Because usually a lot of live 2D male models be very stiff, and that's partially because of like the shape language and stuff. Because it doesn't help that a lot of anime looking males they tend to be like built like squares, but they're not given the same rules of range of motion as women. Although it is a little bit easier to do it with like female figures because of how round they are, so they're more in line with like the roundness of joints and stuff. I'm actually interested to see how they manage to get that level of articulation with a male model while still keeping those traditional male shapes. But it looks really cool. I like how it was as simple as this. I want to cry. I want to cry. I love how so much of art is just problem solving, and some shit is both difficult and hard, both difficult and so easy at the same time. We try to live. Everything about art is hard. Yeah, I want to say pain. Like some things can be a pain, but at the same time, I like the learning process. I should also map out the beauty is wrist pain. That's why you take breaks and get an arm brace or compression gloves. I use compression gloves sometimes. Yeah, I should definitely sketch out the scales just so I don't forget. Because oh my god, I will forget for some dumbass reason. That's good. With me, it's more like I'm heavy handed, so I have to remember to be like, hey, you do not need to press this hard. Because it's not even my settings, it's just autopilot with some things. I'm drawing the scales individually and making them like I'm gonna do it from scratch again on the other side to make it more organic. How far they gotta go down? Okay. To the bottom of the chin. Well, not the bottom of the chin. From the sides of the chin. And then I also gotta. Yeah, brushes definitely help. It's just that I'm also trying not to be heavy handed so I don't like, I don't know, put a dent in the damn tablet or something because I'm scared. I'm scared. And then it also helps me with drawing like traditionally with doing brush control because I also like to do traditional. Usually I do, although I don't draw traditionally as much anymore. I do sketches, but it's mostly to like plan and ideate. Although sometimes I should share my sketches and stuff in between artworks. I just got to be more confident in myself. It's not necessarily that I'm not confident in my artistic ability because I think that I try pretty well and I'm still learning. I don't think that I've had a moment where I was like insecure about my art skills because like I'm very much a I'll just learn mindset, you know? It's more like, do people want to be fucking bothered? And I have to constantly remind myself, yes, people do want to be fucking bothered. It's just the algorithm sucks. And you have to remind yourself of the community members that you have garnered, you know? Because I don't know. I've been dealing with like some personal stuff and sometimes it felt like I don't know, people were only here to have like their negativity affirmed, but then whenever I would call out behaviors or whatever, it would be a problem. And that's part of the reason why I started over because my old page was like getting a bit out of control with some stuff. So like I'm working on being more constructive with what I say and how I say things and also being mindful of who I keep around with some stuff, right? And it's fine. It's better now. Cause oh Artemis, you could have been here, but then you might not have been able to be there because it was a short stream anyways. I ended up doing like a character design tier stream, but how I set up the tiers, it was like what kind of how I had the tiers set up. One tier was like double into details, so like it's a clear and well done design, but it's specifically like good because of its subtlety. Oh, don't worry, it's VOD, it's fine. It's a good design specifically because of its subtlety. Then I have the one that's like clean and clear or very upfront, where it's a good design because of like how quote unquote obvious it is. And then there's the other one that I said that like needed refinement, like maybe some of the ideas could have been more organized with the design, or it could have used more detail in order to further flesh stuff out. I'm gonna make this a different color so it does not get lost. What kind of hairline does she have? Does she have the widow's peak or no? No, she does not. Then let's see. Let me look at the 3D model because sometimes it's hard for me to differentiate textures when it comes to some 2D styles. Is it locks in a ponytail? Yeah, some folks were talking about how some VTubers are like over designed or how people arguing over folks stealing designs, and it's just like I don't think that. And then I heard that one person got cursed out because they said that somebody's OC reminded them of something, and like the artist ended up cursing them out for saying that that thing looked like something. And that happens every 2 to business days. I don't understand. Like, I do get it that I gotta ask Oshi how. God damn it. Okay, I gotta pause the stream because the fire alarm went off. I'll see y'all in a bit. We'll get back to we'll get back to it in a minute. I'll be back. Don't worry, the place won't catch on fire. I feel like somebody did something stupid. But thank you.
distress. I needed someone to hold on to. Bring me there. I was so deep in distress. I needed someone to hold on to. Bring me there. I was so deep in distress. I needed someone to hold. Again, love. I've always found the security in someone else, but now I know I've got to find it for myself.
I accidentally clicked on the wrong overlay. I'm so sorry. What's up, guys? Sorry about that. The fire alarm went off in my dorm, but we are back now. It is fine. Rest in pepperonis. Actually, let me notify everybody through Twitter. And stuff. Who stayed? Did anybody stay? Because I did say. I don't know how to. It's whatever. I'm going to try to. I'm gonna map out the hairline. I need to turn on the symmetry tool. I even forgot what I was talking about. See. Edges. I forgot what I was even talking about. Do I have to? Is it possible to rewind the stream while it's live? Does anybody remember what I was talking about? Because like that was a big distraction. Like, oh my god. I guess I won't know until the VOD. It's fine. What was I thinking about? Or I guess I'll look in the chat and stuff to see. Because what was talked about earlier? Oh yeah, we were talking about the overcomplication of designs and stuff. I'll wait till the ad is over to continue talking about it. Honestly, should I make the face a little bit smaller? Like the eyes a bit. Okay. Okay, I was just making the eyes a little bit smaller to make things feel more balanced. Also, does anybody like the way that I draw edges? When I think about it. Yeah, I survived. It was the neighbors next door. Cause like I live in a college apartment, and yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. Cause I remember how last time they caused a fire alarm to set off, and it was due to like a burnt quesadilla. I don't know how that happened. I don't. So from what I see with Oshunia's hair, it's locks that are like pulled into a ponytail that goes into a puff. Or at least that's what it looks like. Actually, I should ask. Let me ask. Oh, it forms a more oval shape. Okay. Oh, you're an ad gel? I thought that the ad was off. Okay, so I need to make it more of an oval shape. Dear Lord. So let me. I need to adjust. I need to adjust. Actually, make a new hairline layer. Okay, you're free. Yay! So it's more of an oval shape. Sort of like this, but then I'll widen it out a little bit so it's not quite touching the eyebrow. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I forgot. Because we were talking about before, it was like the, god damn it. Um, the fire alarm. It distracted me. We were talking about the overcomplication of VTuber designs and how that's beaten. We were talking about the overcomplication of VTuber designs and how that's beating everybody's ass, particularly riggers and animators and stuff. To be honest, I've talked. Well, not I've talked, but like I have thought about like a lot of it is due to clients, and I also think it's in part to character designers as well because I don't know, like part of it is like you know how Genshin has a lot of overcomplicated details and stuff, and I say overcomplicated. They have preference and it feels directionless, yes, and I also think that that combined with like say character designs that are trying to emulate certain aesthetics, especially when it comes to like Genshin being a crave, and that's why I'm seeing so many fucking belts on everything. So clients not knowing exactly what they want, character design being based on rule of cool instead of like also practicality, not just with whether or not the outfit is actually feasible, but also I don't know if people actually think or not or wonder or not about how I guess do you want your design to be recreatable? And I also feel like some artists need to tell people no. Because to me that sounds like a pain in the ass to draw. Personally. Because as a designer, that's always on my mind because I study the principle of design and animation. Yeah. And because of the field that we're in, that's like heavily, like, it doesn't have the exact same pipeline, but because it deals with animation and rigging and stuff, we want to be considerate of other people. Clients don't have those fundamentals. And I think that's partially why I think it's important for character designers to tell a client no with some things and explain why. And I also feel like clients are wanting these overcomplicated designs in order to like prevent from being called basic or like being confused with other people, because you know how what we were talking about with like the originality thing and how some artists like get straight up offended if somebody says that something reminds them of something, when I don't know, I've always been half and half with that. I wouldn't say that necessarily. I wouldn't say originality can sometimes be bad. It's more like what you're original for can be what's bad. It's not necessarily the originality, but it's just like the execution of it. You can be original and still be ass, but it's not necessarily because it's original. It's more like it's poorly executed. I'm just sketching out where the puffs will be because I'm gonna use one of Vigalia's brushes. Shut up, Vigalia. And then what else happened? Also, let me ask Oshi one more thing. I'm trying to think. Um, Shit. Now I remember how people would get offended whenever somebody would say that their art reminds them of something. And like to me, I personally don't care as long as that person isn't using that too hard to understand, because as a viewer you look for patterns and things you've seen before. That, and also like I don't know, as long as somebody isn't like accusing me of stealing an idea, like stealing something, I don't care. And I feel like a lot of artists should care, especially when a lot of them draw from pop culture anyways. Like, what do you mean you're mad that you're not considered original when a lot of the stuff that you're doing is referencing existing media anyways? Like bro, you're ABO. Yeah, there are only so many design tropes. We gotta let it go and work on making things look balanced. That, and also like I feel like taking inspiration from things, and there's nothing wrong with, I guess, how do I describe it? I'm doing a lot of art studies and stuff, and I'm looking at art movements lately, and I actually want to make reference to existing pieces because I know that some of those parallels can help enhance a narrative with some stuff, because I want to get more into narrative art, you know? like storytelling artwork. And and I think that making references to stuff can actually help support a narrative because of those parallels. Because like the problem with a lot of stuff making references to things, they do it sort of because just because it's cool and not because it helps to enhance what's already there. You know, reference without what's the word? Without context is just feels a bit soulless and low effort. But that's why you be purposeful with your references and stuff. And the current issue with design is how people just want aesthetics, but they don't have a character. So there's no aspects of the design that have actual meaning. And that's why I did that character design stream, and that's why I was like judging stuff based off of how well it told the story. And of course, there are some VTubers who don't have a story and stuff. Sometimes they just want a cool outfit, and that's fine. But even then, like, even with a cool outfit, usually cool outfits don't exist within a vacuum because there's still like, I don't know, general theming and stuff of whether, like, just pick, because aesthetics themselves don't exist within a vacuum. So it's like, wait, no, if it's done in puffs, then I need to do the locks like this. People call me and give me like certain elements and guidelines that I have to follow. It helps so much because most people don't understand that they are effectively creating a person. Yes! Like, you wouldn't be this mindless styling yourself, or sometimes. Oh, who's raiding? Oh, hey Damien! How's it going? Thank you for the raid! Hello, raiders! My name is Jayla Cephidae, and I am a mutant jellyfish who likes to multi-stream. Today we're doing art and talking smack about character design, while also working on another illustration. I know, give me just a minute. But, welcome raiders. Damien, what did you get to do? My day was decent. It was like a little bit hectic earlier because I tried to do voting and kind of found out the polling area was closed because it's only that specific polling area that I was trying to go to was only available for like for early voting and stuff. And there's like a lot of bullshit that went into that because I was straight up asking questions. I'm like, why aren't y'all open on this day when y'all were literally open for early voting? And apparently destroyed in Prince of Persia. Oh yeah, I forgot that Prince of Persia was a video game. Cause I only remember the shitty movie that had Jake Gyllenhaal. I love the VFX in that movie, but at the same time, I'm like, there's too many white people in this Middle Eastern theme movie. But I forgot it was a video game. But I'm sorry that you got destroyed. I hope that you have a better time. Honestly, I need to pick up the controller again, or pick up the mouse again, because I haven't gamed in a bit. I've mainly been doing art streams, and they've been fun. I'm gonna cry, so maybe instead of doing the locks individually, sketch out the actual fucking shape first. Let's start with that. Let's be responsible. Let's make life easier on us. Sexy Prince, look, tore up the floor, but he's still oh my god. Dude, John Carter. Oh yeah, I forgot about John Carter. Speaking of a white man that shouldn't be there, shout out Sokka. I feel like I'm probably going to block Avatar The Last Airbender forever because even though I love that show, I'm tired of Avatar The Last Airbender Twitter because it'd be the same shit all the time. Like, Like, I'm glad that there's gonna be new content coming out. Which show? The live action or like in general? I haven't seen the live action. I refuse to, because I refuse to watch stuff that was clearly made because they don't respect the media. I would recommend it, just don't talk to anybody. Because the fandom gets on my damn nerves. The fandom gets on my damn nerves. Or not the whole. Actually, no. Most of the fandom gets on my damn nerves. Because, it is a good show. And I'm not saying it because, like, oh, dick writing and stuff. Remember how earlier I said, oh, thank you. She really does look awesome. Remember how I said earlier how just because something is for kids doesn't mean that it can't be mature, in the sense that, like, mature as in maturity, not mature as in the content. And I feel like we shouldn't use mature to describe content because, like, I don't know. Like, I know they mean mature as in for older people, as in you've hit maturity, right? But, like, whenever talking about, like, adult media versus kids media and stuff, it ends up being like, oh, kids media can't be mature and stuff, even though there's some that's really. Oh, my pronouns are she, her. But thanks for asking. Yeah, it's Women's History Month. There's supposed to be something at my job dealing with Women's History Month because I had to make a poster. For those who don't know, I work at a museum. I'm an education assistant, but sometimes I also make graphics and stuff, and that's nice. I had to make a poster because we had a living history event with the Department of Heritage and stuff um where women were dressed up as different, like, famous women from our state in order to do a performance to interact with the audience and stuff, and it's really cool. But what was I thinking about again? Oh yeah, just because something is for kids doesn't mean that the writing can't be, like, good or mature and stuff. And I feel like because earlier in the stream I was talking about how, there's this expectation that adults can't be into childish things and stuff, even though a lot of children's media is made for kids and adults alike, because, like, they want adults to be able to watch it to bond with their kids. So sometimes they put, like, an inside joke or whatever. But some children's stuff, even though it's marketed to children, are enjoyable for all ages simply because it's well crafted. It's not just about, like, making something for the parents, but, like, the way that it covers certain topics and the tact and understanding that it does, like, say, The Incredibles or Bluey and stuff, because Bluey had a fucking episode where they dealt with miscarriage. And it's not like kids shows haven't dealt with dark, well, not dark, but with sadder subjects like that. I need to redraw this. I feel like I put too many because these are a lot bigger. Let's try this again. But yeah, I love The Incredibles. I love The Incredibles so much. It's a shame what happened with the sequel because I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I felt like I actually wrote to somebody because somebody was just like, "What was your opinion on the sequel and stuff?" I gotta find. I know I typed something about Evelyn. Okay. There was a post, right? Somebody said, "You'll never make me hate this movie." And a mutual was like, "Never." And I said, "I don't hate it, but I wish they kept the Gazer Beam eulogy and adjusted Evelyn a bit." I still love the familial dynamics and teamwork. And the mutual, her name is Digital Reindeer. She said, I agree actually with the Gazerine piece. I actually never thought about the Evelyn adjustment. Can you explain? I said, the concept of screenslaver could have been stretched a bit more. Like, Evelyn has a genuine distaste for hero spectacle because it inspires people to be bigger than they are. Like her dad, who died trying to save her and her brother. Also, make it where Evelyn was trying to sabotage missions and make it look like heroes escalate the situation than genuinely helping her brother until the press conference. If Helen foiled a screenslaver plan, then Evelyn had a hidden disaster to mitigate by still doing damage. Think of how, even though the Underminer was defeated, people were still upset at the major collateral damage. So Evelyn's interference would be to make the fight as messy as possible, so folks would see heroes as an inconvenience than an effective means to address crime. That would have been like a little bit better, and like it still would have utilized the existing elements within the story, but in a way that's a little bit more effective. But that's how I feel about it. But no, the reason why I was talking about that thing about how like quote unquote childish things can still be enjoyable for adults because it's just well crafted and stuff that anybody at any age could appreciate it was because there's been like a conversation in VTubing spaces about adults being shamed for having quote unquote childish interests and whatnot. And um and I was talking about the factors that go into that. And pretty much my thing is that adulthood is so miserable and it's marketed as something that has to be miserable that people look down on adult joy and stuff. And it also doesn't help that adults, because they don't want to actually make adulthood fun, they end up clinging to childish things. This isn't to say that adults can't like childish things, right? But like the incessant clinging to it, like how adults insist on being in child spaces and being given seniority there just because they're adults, even though they're technically guests and stuff. Because I don't know, if you're like in the Powerpuff Girls fandom and stuff, even though you were in it as a kid and stuff, it's still something that's made and marketed largely to kids. And I feel like at a certain point you start being a guest. It doesn't matter if you were there first. Because like nobody would be pulling up to a fucking Disney park, right? And be like, oh, I grew up watching Lilo and Stitch and stuff, and I should be treated as an elder here. Like, nigga, no, you still a guest. And Disney World was still largely made for children. You know, I don't know. Like, I'm tired of the fandom elder bullshit because like you're not an elder. You're just old. And that's okay. Okay. I'm gonna try this one more again. I need to map this better because I don't know, these locks are bothering me. I know how to do it. I believe in myself, right? It's just as soon as you're not old. But I don't know, it bothers me that grown ass adults are like demanding to be treated with reverence or something in fandom spaces and stuff. Or they'll be saying stuff like, it's adults that's making the content, and I'm like, who are they making the content for? Like, it's begging the question. Like, be serious. Or what's even worse, right? What's even worse is like the talk about adult versus children's spaces and stuff. And the thing is, there aren't really a lot of children's spaces. Yes, there is a sense of entitlement. Because like people talk about how like I'm tired of people complaining about how kids get everything because no the fuck they don't. Especially like I can't speak for other countries, but I know in the US that is a fucking lie. We are literally dealing with like an internal refugee issue of like trans kids because of how trans people in general are losing stuff, but like trans kids were the ones to lose that access to like medical autonomy first. It started with them and stuff, and then how so much is being taken away from children, from libraries to education, with them trying to censor education and stuff. Kids do not have shit. Kids haven't had a site actually for them in like how long, since Adobe Flash was like discontinued and stuff. Because remember Cool Math games and um and Renmaru games with the dress up and stuff. Remember Pixie Hollow and Club Penguin, and Pop Tropica recently shut down? Yes, because here's the thing. Um, a lot of corporations do not want to pay money to do moderation, right? Because it costs money for both the technology and to like pay staff to be discerning, because automation systems aren't aren't at that level where they're able to discern between like mature content and stuff that's like, or mature unsafe and whatnot yet. They're not there yet. So you have to do human labor, and it is very emotionally intensive. Like it takes a lot of energy and whatnot. Cause like, okay, one time I went to a field trip to the FBI headquarters, right? And they talked about how, they do investigations and stuff, and they actually put a lot of resources into maintaining the mental health of staff when it comes to dealing with certain types of cases. I love it when you stream. Always got my break it. I want to say, oh, thanks. Because also, I just like to talk crap, and I like to talk. I sort of got policy autism. Let's see. When did my like interest in? I have to go drive sadly. Well, drive safely. Get home safe, or get where you need to go safe. But thank you for the lurking. But what happened? Um, what I was talking about with the FBI and how they put a lot of resources towards the mental health of employees, because like sometimes they deal with heinous shit like FBI, internal investigation. Sometimes there's stuff like trafficking and stuff where children aren't involved, and it is actually a requirement for them to like take a break from cases for a certain number of weeks and go through a mental evaluation whenever they deal with like a CSEM case, like a child exploitation case and stuff, because of the mental toll that it can have and whatnot. A lot of companies aren't willing um, to utilize those resources or provide those resources towards their own employees. So instead of having like more discerning moderation and stuff, some stuff they just simply don't allow. It's the reason why PayPal doesn't allow um, the sale of NSFW content or for sexual favors and stuff when it comes to their thing. And it's also why Ko-Fi doesn't allow it, because Ko-Fi uses, yeah, they're an expensive demographic with diminishing returns because they don't have money. So that's why you see so many like children's spaces being shut down. I feel like our gen was the last one to actually allow to be a child. Yep. because kids have less access to recreation and whatnot than ever and stuff, and that's where it comes to the thing with, because like one person was like, oh, why are kids so hostile towards adults? And it's just like because adults are literally aren't doing anything to protect them and stuff. Because like this person was talking about like why are youth so disrespectful towards adults, or why they're like so hostile towards adults having fun and stuff. And I answered genuinely. Apparently this person wasn't being genuine and asking and stuff. They were just venting about like being an adult and having their interests shat on. And that's like fair and stuff. Although I argue that adults do more to shit on adults' interests than kids. Like I feel like more adults do more to make adulthood miserable and stuff because we actually like have power and policy and stuff. I don't, maybe because I don't give a fuck about what children say with certain stuff, because like I'll roast the shit out of a kid. I used to roast the shit out of children when I used to work as a tutor at a school. That's partially why I got fired. Uh, children and teens should have known you should not matter, and that's why I talked about like the fandom elder shit, like how adults have the nerve to act like they're in danger with certain stuff with kids when it's just like why are you acting like children are oppressing you when they have no resources and stuff. Yeah, they're getting on your nerves, but you should not be depressed about somebody who has to be told to wipe their own ass, or somebody who can't even pay their own fucking bills. Like I don't care. They have no autonomy. We're supposed to pity them and help them develop. And this isn't to say that I won't yell at a kid, because like I said, I used to work as a tutor and some shit I was not going to allow and stuff, because like okay, I believe in treating children as people and stuff, and by extension as a person you will get roasted and stuff. I straight up asked the kid, are you not getting enough attention at home and that's why you feel the need to act up in my class? Because like he was like cursing and shit and instigating with other students, and it's just like it's one thing with y'all going through stuff at home and whatnot and you're lashing out, but like I'm not going to be the one that you're gonna lash out. Like I would just be frank with them, because I feel like being honest with kids without being derogatory or condescending is very important. I'll be straight up. I do not get paid to watch y'all, and I will tell you to leave. I do not get paid. I am not a babysitter. I am a tutor. If you want me to help you with math, that is fine. But like, do not treat me like a punching bag because you're dealing with shit at home. If school is the safest place that you could be, then let it be the safest place, and don't also take away that safety from others because you want to be a dumbass. Like I was so serious with some kids, and a lot of kids respected that. There were some who didn't, because I blame some of the teachers that were there before I got there, because there were some teachers that would just let them do stuff because it was just like, well, I don't have energy for this. And you're just like, no, you have to have energy. You're the fucking teacher. I'm only an assistant, and you're actually getting a salary. Don't start with me and stuff. And then a lot of the kids that I was dealing with that was acting a hot ass mess were these boys, and it pissed me off. Like adults want to be in control, and they are. And then they don't use that control and leadership for the benefits of other kids' lives are now as miserable as adults because they don't want to do things to help them. Yeah, and it's very unfortunate. It's bleak. It's very bleak. But of course there are some things. I wouldn't say we're such an awful species, because like there are several species that are even worse. A hamster will straight up eat its children if it gets touched by something else because it doesn't recognize its scent. Like we're not gonna we are not as up there compared to other animals with some stuff. And one can argue that we're sentient and stuff, but like there's different levels of sentience and stuff. A lot of animals tend to be very emotionally intelligent when it comes to each other. So like no, I wouldn't blame it on like species on necessarily of being a terrible species. We're off on the sense that we choose to be. We aren't fully instinct different. I can't even say that it's fully a choice with some things because like okay, we're suffering through really shitty material conditions, and I'm not like, and that's like due to well systemic stuff, right? And there are definitely plenty of people who are like trying to break those curses, but of course breaking generational curses requires resources and stuff that a lot of people simply do not have. And like people often underestimate how material conditions like into factors a lot into how things go. Because like whenever, remember how I said, actually I don't think that you were here earlier, I said that miserable children create miserable adults. Well, miserable adults create miserable children creates miserable adults. Because like I talked about earlier how every other day on this app a lot of people base their feelings on policy off of like personal experience and trauma. And although like trauma and whatnot can bring insight into, oh, I should have made the boobs. I should have pushed the boobs together. I was mapping them out. Although they could bring insight into like how things are and stuff and how we should change them. A lot of people have like weaponized their trauma to be very inconsiderate and stuff. Like I hate those posts where it's just like, what's an opinion on parenthood that would get you like this? And then I always see some bitch being like, poor people. Oh, if you're poor, then you shouldn't have kids. Or if you don't have this, this, and that, then you shouldn't have kids. And it's just like y'all act like people in those situations want to have children. Like I don't know. I feel like a lot of traumatized people can be fucking stupid with some things because they won't like actually look outside of their trauma and consider certain factors and stuff. Like yes, your parents were shit and it's wrong, and even if you were struggling, it is terrible that they took their circumstances out on you. But have you considered that being in those circumstances is what breeds terrible parents in the first place? And that oftentimes a lot of these parents act the way that they do because they never wanted them in the first place. Everybody and their mom literally be talking about how they would fucking kill themselves before they have children and da 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 da. But then want to act all surprised when their parent, who probably did not have the resources to get rid of them, acted the way that they did. Like, two things can be correct at the same time. Your parents were shit and that wasn't okay. But like material conditions play a huge role into whether or not parents are like prepared or how well you're raised with certain stuff. And I'm tired of people like pushing eugenics narratives and stuff just because they got mistreated as a kid. Because like, okay, you're saying that poor people shouldn't have kids. The government definitely thinks that as well, which is why they literally give poor people terrible healthcare and stuff to actually make sure that they have children well. That's why they're defunding public education. That's why they're not giving people sustainable wages and stuff. They don't want poor people to have kids. They want them to create the next workforce, right? They want them to create the next workforce. While simultaneously doing nothing to actually like raise that workforce well, because they don't want us to be functional human beings. They want us to suffer and to be so desperate that we're willing to work just to survive. They want the division of classes, right? But like you can't tell Alex and Jeffrey and Tanisha that, because they'll be like, "Oh, so you're saying that my parents' poverty justified them beating me as a kid?" No, they probably beat you because they were poor, because poverty creates like all sorts of shitty behaviors and stuff. And unfortunately, because kids have the least, it's literally just punching down, right? And how you prevent punching down is by getting rid of these hierarchical systems that put people above other people in the first place, right? But nobody wants to look at the full thing, right? They just look at my parents were ass, and it's really annoying because I'm seeing miserable ass adults, and it's very frustrating as an American, right? Because we literally lost Roe v. Wade, right? So you're seeing a lot of unwanted pregnancies, and people aren't putting two and two together. You definitely can be soft in hard times. That's the only way you can survive. And that is the only way you can survive. You don't take any shit in hard times. But the only way that people survive through hard times is through compassion and community and stuff. That dog eat dog shit is not helping anybody. Yeah, that's how they act. And other stuff with abusive parents. Sometimes, like, I do not want to push the narrative that actually no, because when it does come to like generational trauma and stuff, that is, I think we it's different when it comes to like relationship abuse, but when it comes to parental abuse, it's a bit different. Um, yeah, and that's the other issue, right? How children are treated as investments for the future instead of like children, and that's largely because of the lack of access to certain resources and stuff, and the lack of a future that's available to poor parents and stuff, where they have to depend on their kids to get them out. Another thing is that poor parents, like, people always want to talk about we need people to take classes to before they have kids. And I would also gets on my nerves about the conversation when it comes to like what parents need before they have kids, right? Is that, okay, yes, you don't have kids, but you come on this app and torment children by being rude and belligerent, or by taking videos of them and then reposting them to ridicule and stuff. Nigga, you need a class. Cause like it gets on my nerves how people are like, "Oh, I'm breaking generational curses by not having children." And this isn't to say that not having children is bad, because shit, I don't want kids right now. I got PCOS. My ovaries hurt, but my ovaries hurt. I'm not having children right now. But you don't break generational curses by not having children. You break generational curses by treating children as people. And a lot of these adults, they treat adulthood as a means to become the bullies that they couldn't be as children. And they assert their newly found power on children. It's easier to pick on children. Let's go, PCOS. It's easier to pick on children than it is to it's easier to pick on children than it is to punch up at power structures and stuff. And it's easier to encroach on children's spaces and fetishize youth and shit than to grow up and make adulthood fun. Because, like I said, there isn't anything wrong with adults still liking childish things. But at the same time, it's just like, the problem is that you only see childish things as fun, and you're not willing to, like, I don't know, use your imagination and make adulthood something fun as well. Because a lot of adulthood is fucking boring. We gotta work all the time. Um, Not even drinking is fun because people don't know how to act because they can't drink without getting drunk. Like, why do people think that getting drunk is a requirement to have fun? Are you that unimaginative? And this isn't to like make fun of addicts or anything because they're not the ones, right? It's more like that cultural attitude that you have to get drunk to have fun, which creates addictive behaviors. What people don't realize is that taking away people's childhoods makes everyone an adult life. That, and also because now there are no fun space for everyone except bars, clubs, and then bars and clubs be boring as fuck. Because okay, let's talk about how the internet has partially made adult life miserable. Because not even adults can be in adult spaces and do fun shit without somebody pulling their phone out and trying to ridicule somebody for just living. Like I've been hearing shit about clubs because I don't go clubbing. I did once. It was okay. But like a lot of folks don't even dance at clubs, depending on the club. Some people don't even dance at clubs because they're afraid of like having be made a fool of to strangers on the internet. Let's make life easier on me and break down the shape. Like put the fucking phone away. There's nothing wrong with like taking pictures of stuff of your friends and stuff, but stop taking pictures of strangers. It's so lame. Too much hateration. There was that one video that went viral the other day, and it was like a dude who was like dancing to try to impress a girl, and folks were like making references to Birds of Paradise because usually they have a mating dance to try to impress a girl and stuff, and we need to bring that shit back. We need people to like to take pictures of themselves and their friends and not strangers, and we need people to like break it down again. Also, I'm tired of certain clubbing outfits. I hate a lot of clubbing outfits. We need better clothes. More movies about dancing would be nice. And we need them to actually be advertised as that instead of trying to trick people to come into the theater. Stop trying to trick people into watching shit that they don't want to watch because that only makes it miserable for the people who actually wanted to watch, and then now they gotta hear all this complaining and shit. Because they advertise the Mean Girls movie. Everybody thought that it was like a remastered, or well, no, not a remaster, but a reboot of the original one. When no, it was an adaptation of the musical. And then now they're trying to we do not need to step up. I'm tired of those stories of those white boys. Another place where white men don't belong. He's the Eminem of hip hop dancing. We gotta put what's that dude's name? You know who I'm talking about. The dude from Magic Mike. We gotta put him away. We need like another Chicago or burlesque or something. Yeah, not everybody wants to go to Juilliard. We need less executive control because executives expect everything to be a blockbuster instead of it doing like mid at the movies but then making up for it in DVD sales. We need to bring back physical media. I think that's part of the reason. There's so many reasons, but I think like a big reason is the decline in physical media. Everything has to be a blockbuster in the movie theater, or or it's just a tax write-off that doesn't get promoted and stuff because they care more about IP acquisition than actually releasing shit. Yep. So sad how misogyny kills so many good things. I don't think necessarily that, because like there were quote unquote masculine dances and stuff as well, because like okay, here's the thing. um Plus misogyny was very much prominent in dance culture. It's why men and women usually have different parts and stuff. The problem, I thought you meant like misogyny as in motherfuckers being weird towards girls just minding their business and dancing, because I feel like that killed more things. Because like dudes, they'll dance, but then they'll be fucking weird about it. Hey Poppy. Sometimes whenever I think about like misogyny and dance, I always think about how oh, it's because my headset broke. I say that depends. I say that really depends. My headset broke. I'm gonna cry. Actually, let's see how to. I gotta get a new headset. It's not delivery. It's the struggle. Um. Or actually, how's this? I can't say always. Y'all are literally going to trigger my history autism because like that's not no. The dancing has never been gay. Well, not never been gay, but like yes and no. I say that I say yes and no. Like a lot of people look back at 70s wear and think that oh these niggas were fruity. Yes, a lot of them were on the biggest dance trends. I say with the 80s, it was like a mix, especially when it comes to like hip hop and whatnot, because a lot of choreography is very much a lot of hip hop choreography, especially when it came to like popping and locking. Um, Especially when it came to popping and locking, it was like heavily crossover with new wave Vogue and whatnot. But like good dancing being seen as gay, that is a very new phenomenon. That is a hella new phenomenon. And also, a lot of people look at like past trends and be like, "Oh, that was gay," when it's just like, no, these were straight niggas. It's just that they had a lot more a specialty dancing, but it was still very commonplace in our environments. Yeah, they really are. I hate them. Manosphere is part of the reason why I had such a hard time working as a tutor. I feel like that's part of the reason because most of the folks that I had problems with at that damn school were boys who didn't like being told no by a female adult figure. And it didn't help that a lot of their teachers was enabling that shit because they're like, I don't have the energy for this. And it's just like you are literally a teacher. You need to have energy for discipline. I don't have the energy for this, which is why I will call the security guard and send them to the office because I don't fucking get paid to watch them. Because I don't argue with people's kids because I'll curse a kid out. So I de-escalate. I de-escalate. I knew I was forgetting something. And it's weird because, like, okay, I'm an education assistant at a. I'm an education assistant. See videos of female teachers nowadays talking about their classrooms and how the boys treat girls and each other, and it makes me so depressed. Yeah, and that's why we need to. It's a combination of factors, right? Because, like, the manosphere has. I can't say that it's the cause. It's more like it capitalizes off of existing trends and stuff. A lot of parents don't monitor the content that their kids watch. Um, some of them can't monitor the content that their kids watch because, like, wages are so ass that they are pretty much working all the damn time. So there's also that. And then it doesn't help that existing misogyny trends already exist. It's just the manosphere is capitalizing off of that. It just what's it called? Expedites the output. It needs to be wider. I mean, no, a lot of teachers were also tolerating that shit, and I didn't have the energy for it. Like, there would be times where a kid said something smart, and I just responded with the same kind of energy. Like, I didn't curse them out or anything, but I would just be a smart ass back, and they would be like, "Oh, you can't say that. You're a teacher." And I said, "No, I'm not. I'm a tutor." Yeah, and this is where I talk about, like, grown adults create shitty kids, create shitty adults, because you're an agile. Okay, then I'll wait for a moment. Um, Shitty adults make shitty kids make shitty adults. A lot of these kids are learning this stuff at home, and it's just the manosphere expediting some things. I need to stop slouching. Oh, you're back. I need to stop slouching. Like, okay, some things that I've considered. I'm going to start working out again because I don't know. I feel like it's my boobs that's making me slouch, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure because, like, I don't know. I hate surgery, and I do not want to have to get, like, a whole breast reduction. My boobs aren't even that big; they're just a double D. But holy fuck, am I slouching a lot? And I don't know if it's, like, depression or, like, artist issues because, you know, we tend to shrimp and stuff. My boobs don't feel too heavy. I don't know. Random thoughts. I was adjusting my posture during the ad break, but what was I talking about again? Oh yeah. So it's already adults having these shitty ideas, right? And stuff. The manosphere just takes those shitty ideas and, like, it makes them more accessible and pushes them out more often and whatnot. We gotta kill the manosphere was only able to thrive because of existing cultural issues and stuff. But all in all, I know I will never be a teacher. I do thrive well in educational environments. I breast bobbly. I know I thrive well in educational environments because I've worked so many fucking educational jobs because I'm like, huh, I could do this thing and it's money. Even though like my dreams are more art focused and stuff, but I've had plenty of artistic opportunities with working in education and stuff. So I thrive well in educational environments. It's just I can't be a teacher with being around kids that long. I could be around kids in increments whenever I'm giving tours at the museum or doing small programs and stuff. But like if I gotta watch kids all day, I'm cursing one out. I actually did. Um, because he stank and he got into a girl's face and I told him to move and then he talked about what he was gonna do in retaliation and I pulled out a pair of scissors. Like and these are high schoolers specifically, right? But like, do not try me, especially with how big he was. We're the same height, but he's wider. He's like literally. I don't want to make fun of him like that, but that nigga looked like fucking Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z. I was going to fucking prick him with a pair of scissors and see if air was going to leak out with his Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade built ass. But because like, first of all, you shouldn't be in a girl's face trying to fight her and all this other kind of shit because she called you stank. When you always got something to say about other people, because I hated that kid. He was always in somebody's face starting shit when you have no reason to. We can smell you before we see you, boy. Humble yourself and put on deodorant. Especially when the school was giving it out for free, there was no reason. Alright guys, a summer camp counselor for the summer, like the kids were so adorable. It's 2018, so kids are different now. But I did have problems with the kids who had parental behavioral problems. But the thing is about that kid, he actually had a good support system. Because like his parents, they were usually kind and stuff. And this isn't like those situations where they're like kind to other people's kids but not their own. Like those parents love him. And whenever they would find out about him doing stuff, they would get on his ass. It's just that, you know how some kids, they only act a certain way because they aren't supervised and whatnot, and sometimes that's because they have strict parents, so they're like, oh, I got freedom and I can do shit. With that particular boy, because there was no consistent discipline, his parents would be one way and the teachers would be dismissive and allow him to do stuff. And then he was also bigger than a lot of people. So there would be no consequences because nobody would be like, well, I'm not gonna deal with him because he's bigger than me. When it's just like, that means jack shit. I grew up fighting people bigger than me when I was little. If somebody was not going to back me into a corner, some stuff is like power without any yes. And like he does well in class and stuff. He never showed up to class, but whenever he did an assignment, he did well on it. So he was obviously smart. He was just a bitch. He was a whole bitch. Still is. He's on the football team apparently, because like the school that I was tutoring at was my sister's school, and she's still at that high school, and she fucking hates it. She hates them kids too, which is also why I hate them kids. Fuck them kids. I got too many stories. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, but because he's getting tackled and shit, and people are knocking the fuck out of him, he's mellowing out. Some of the reasons why some kids act out, it's not necessarily because most of the time when kids act out, it is usually because of home life. Because it's not necessarily that their parents don't love them. Sometimes they don't have enough to eat because their parents don't have it and stuff. So like, it's hard to be a good noodle when your stomach is touching your back and stuff. But some of these kids, they act the way that they do because they have some sort of power socially at the school with no accountability and stuff. And power without accountability does lead to nefarious behavior, because who's going to stop you? Because, you know, kids, a lot of people forget that kids, it's not that they're bad, but they like to test boundaries when it comes to certain stuff. And sometimes you can't explain certain things. Sometimes they have to go through consequences. But if the consequences never come when they test that boundary, that's where things go to shit. So him actually having to like put his money where his mouth is on that football field is why he's mellowing out, because those other boys on the football team will knock the fuck out of him. And they make him shower. Musty ass. But I think this is where we're gonna leave off, because it's getting late. Yeah. So you either have to explain it to them, or you gotta let them whoop their own ass. And and by let them whoop their own asses, let them make mistakes. As long as the mistake doesn't kill them, they'll be fine. I remember how one time when I went on a church trip, and there was like a kid who kept having temper tantrums and stuff, and his older sister went to grab him, and I'm like, no, don't grab him, he'll learn. We were in a McDonald's. He fucking hit his head on the McDonald's chair because he was falling out. And I said, see, they whoop their own ass. You don't have to do much. But thank you. I like how this went so far. I'm so excited. But um thanks to everybody who came. Thanks to Damien who came and rated and stuff. This was a nice stream to like let off steam and stuff, because I was frustrated about a couple of things, which is part of the reason why I was talking about the topics that I did. But I'm glad that we managed to make it this far with our shittiest drawing, and I hope y'all have a good evening. Stay above the water.